how to handle people with an attitude, with attitudes. The snap, snap, snap thing. Oh no, she didn't. That kind of stuff. How do you, but in real life it's not as cute. How do you handle that kind of thing? Well, here's an example of how I do it. Two phases, right? Two phases. All right, we'll go with three. It's always three. Third time's the charm, literally. The first thing, the first way I handled it in 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 high school, yeah, girls' attitudes everywhere. Well, whatever. I used to treat it with anger. I was a very angry person, treated my problems with anger, and it made me look like a jackass, and it made them cry, and it was not a good thing. It was horrible. I felt like a jackass. I didn't like being that person. I didn't like hating myself either. The other thing, then the second phase of my life, right, where I learned my lesson. I'm like, okay, let's see if we can handle this in a different way. So I work with someone who is a receptionist, and I have no business affiliations with this person, and we simply work in the same area together. But we're not like that. It's like this, and eventually I'll go to Europe. But what ended up happening was I found I enabled it. Is what happened. I was or keeping the peace. It's weird how you handle that, because you don't want to, because you do have to work with them. They were hired to do their job, and that stuff. But the issue was she was she was one of those people who, you're talking here to somebody over there, and she's standing here, and she is mouthing words behind your back to that person while you're talking to them. Every time you turn around or turn your back to them, they do, the roll your eyes attitude, and every time they were asked to do something, diva attitude. How do you handle that? I work with them. I see them every single day. I have to deal with them. To a certain extent, what I had to do is just let it go. I had to learn how to let it go. Not It's going to affect you because it's irritating when you're trying to get something done and someone is blatantly standing in your way and giving you attitude and making it a poor environment for everybody. They're negative people. Having an attitude is a negative thing. It means you have low self-confidence, you have low value, and you have to make up for it with attitude. I see That's why you see all these gangsters and whatnot. They're not gangsters, fucking dumb. But that's what they're doing. That's the guy form of attitude. Low self-esteem, low self-worth. It's the same thing all over again. And these people, how do you handle it? I stay away from them, and when I have to work around them, I be as nice as possible, but I set clear boundaries. I'm like, now, it's like, no, no, I'm not dealing with that. Then if you're gonna treat me like that, you go do it. I'm not gonna be around that. That's how I handle it. Because then what happens? Do not ever, please, piece of advice: do not ever reason with someone who is not logical or not seeking a solution. So whenever I had to work with this particular diva, whenever I approached it like that, and I was like, no, you need me to say anything else? They expect a confrontation. It's the best thing when you're like, no, zero drama. They thrive on drama. They love drama. So when you just make it dry, they hate it. It's like the brain leech. Like the brain leech in Futurama that dries out on Fry's head. it, it's the same thing. They can't leech off any drama on you when you're like, no or yes. I need to get back to work. Do you need anything else? That's it. That's how I treat them in life outside of work and in the workplace. And then, and I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. It's the same thing with people, with guys and girls. It's the same thing. You just treat it like that, they're probably not going to like you, and they're going to talk about you behind your back, and they're going to do all that stuff. But if you're working around good, well-intentioned people, they know that person's a diva, guy or girl, they're divas. But that's how you handle it. Keep your cool. Don't make yourself look like a jerk. Like that's what they want you to do. They want you to look like an ass so that they can look like victims because they don't have any direction. They have no purpose and no direction. So when you when you pick on them, they're the victims. Don't let that happen. They're seeking it out. They want you to do that. Don't do it. And move on with whatever you're doing. Whatever you're doing, you've got so much potential. I can't even begin to tell you how much potential you have. And just get away from those people. But handling attitude, I used to handle it with anger, and now I'm like, I dry it out like a leech, and I let the leech die. That's how it works. That's how it works.